praise due to Allah. We seek His help and we seek His forgiveness. We seek refuge with Allah from the evils of our souls and from our bad deeds. Whomever Allah guides, no one can misguide. And whomever Allah leaves astray, no one can guide. And I bear witness that there's no God but Allah and that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam is His messenger. Dear brothers and sisters, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us a lot of abilities. Gave us everything that we need to use in this life. Some of these things can be used for good, some of them can be used for evil. Some of them can be used and be the path that will lead us to paradise, and some of it, if it's used in the wrong way, will lead us to the hellfire. So we have to understand what we are responsible for, and we have to understand the things that comes out of our mouth, the things that we do, and the things that we say. The Prophet ﷺ said, "Man kana yu'minu billahi wal yawmil akhir falyaqul khayran aw liyasmut." Whoever believes in Allah and the Day of Judgment, let him say good or stay quiet. Unless you have something good to say, don't say it. And in another hadith, the Prophet ﷺ says, whoever guarantees, in part of the hadith, whoever guarantees what's in between their jaws, their mouth, their tongue, whoever guarantees that will not commit sin, that will not do wrong, the Prophet ﷺ guaranteed them Jannah. So we have to look at what we say. We have to watch what we say. Because as we will see later, we are held responsible for what comes out of our mouth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah Al-Hujurat verses 12, وَلَا يَغْتَبْ بَعْضُكُمْ بَعْضًا أَيُحِبُّ أَحَدُكُمْ أَنْ يَأْكُلَ لَحْمَ أَخِيهِ مَيْتًا فَكَرِهْتُمُوهُ. In the meaning more or less that, and we'll talk about the meaning of ghiba in a minute, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us, do not commit ghiba against one another. And He's comparing ghiba to eating the flesh of your fellow brother or sister, as if you're eating from their meat, which shows you the implications and the seriousness of committing this sin. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah Qaf verse 18, مَا يَلْفظُ مِنْ قَوْلٍ إِلَّا لَدَيْهِ رَقِيبٌ عَتِيدٌ. مَا يُلْفظُ مِنْ قَوْلٍ إِلَّا لَدَيْهِ رَقِيبٌ عَتِيدٌ. Anything that's being said has somebody taken notes. Everything that we say is written down, and it's counted against us. In Surah Al-Isra, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, verses 36 says, إِنَّ السَّمْعَ وَالْبَصَرَ وَالْفُؤَادَ كُلُّ أُولَٰئِكَ كَانَ عَنْهُ مَسْئُولًا. Again, in the meaning that what we hear, what we see, and what's in our heart, we are responsible for. So not also saying it, but hearing it. So let's look at what the definition of ghiba. And unfortunately, a lot of people misunderstand the definition of ghiba. Or they limit it to one thing or one section of ghiba. The Prophet ﷺ said, and when he was sitting with some of his companions, he said, أَتَدْرُونَ مَا الْغِيبَةِ? Do you know what ghiba is? And then look at their response. If we are sitting in a group of people, or with a group of people, and we ask a question, whether we know the answer or not, a lot of times people will just jump to an answer and say, well, I think ghiba is this, or I think, the answer is this, whether we know it or not. But the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, they said, Allah wa Rasuluhu a'lam. Allah and His Messenger know better. We don't know. So then the Prophet ﷺ replied, and he said, ذِكْرُكَ أَخَاكَ بِمَا يَكْرَهُ. Mentioning or remembering or saying anything about your fellow brother or sister in what they don't like. And he didn't say that, it's something that, they hate, or something that, they whatever it is. He said just mentioning anything that they don't want you to mention, even if it's true. So the Sahaba said, what if what we say about them is true? he said, then فَقَدْ بَهَدْتُ. Then you're making, or no, sorry, he said, what if what we're telling is the truth? He said, then فَقَدْ اغْتَبْتُ. Then you are committing ghiba. But if it's not, then فَقَدْ بَهَدْتُ. So if you are telling what they're actually saying, then this is ghiba. But if you're not, if you're making up lies, then that's even worse. Because now you're committing ghiba on top of making the lies, which is even twice as worse. So let's sit down and think about the definition of ghiba. As some people might think that only ghiba stops at backbiting.